Melissa is one of the teachers at the Psychic Mediumship College. So we thought we would come live today. And so as you are seeing this and you are coming on, say hi so we know that we're not talking to ourselves. So that would be awesome. We've come here. We wanted to talk about a few things. We want to talk about your spiritual team, who makes up your spiritual team, how they work with you, how you can work with them. But before we do that, Melissa, people might not know who you are. So I would love for you to share a little bit about you and your journey.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for having me on. My journey has just been, there's so many things. Let me just pinpoint it to one thing because it's so varied and exciting and sometimes a little bit unbelievable, but that's where the magic lies, isn't it? Because we get into this industry because we're drawn to the magic of it, and then we realize that it's not so much magic but it's reality, and then we understand all of that. So when I look back, I've been with the college for 6-7 years now, I think it is.
It's a while.
Right from inception.
Keep wanting to be around us, so which is fabulous.
I know, I can't get enough. So I started my life, my journey, as a personal trainer and a massage therapist. So that all those years ago, so I've been doing that for about 30 years. And I didn't realize at the time that I was I did know that I was working on the physical body, but it wasn't until now, as I reflect back on the last 6 years of my time with the college and learning my own self-development on all my abilities and my healing, that I've changed and I've come into that that emotional and energy healing space. So before I was working on the physical body in like the 3D, and now I'm slowly into that more metaphysical quantum science, woo-woo-y, transitioning into the awakening part of it. So it's really, really exciting to see how I've grown from one aspect, and I've just completely opened my mind and my heart to a new way of life, and it's totally enhanced everything that I have experienced as an older adult now. So it's really interesting.
Hi,
really
Nikki.
Interesting.
I have to agree. Like when I've come from corporate, I'm really analytical, very skeptical, science-based, raised with a lot of religion, all the things that are kind of in conflict with our space here. But there's a couple of things that I find really amazing about this space. As we kind of lean in and we understand it, we learn what it is. One, the change that occurs within us as individuals. I was talking to someone about half an hour ago, and she's going to join the college, and she was talking about her different experiences, and she actually said, she's a baby beginner, hasn't done anything. She goes, I'm pretty sure when you do this work, you end up being a better person. And I'm like, yeah, like you actually do. And it's not that you're a better person. It's like a lot of things that would make you present as something other than that disappear. You have a different perspective. The way that you move through life is differently because you can see things from, as I said, different vantage points, and you understand things at a whole different level, which means that as you maneuver through life, the level of consciousness that you're more aware of that you have shifts and changes. And so that if you have challenges, you maneuver through the challenges differently from that different vantage point. You understand the lessons, you integrate them as you're moving through. And this really shows up in that way. So it's really interesting, and I love the fact that you said that you were working on the physical body first, and now you spent all this time working on the energetic aspect, and that's really what we're all about, is really connecting in that way. So when you think about 6 years you've been in this space, and I remember when we met, and even some of the things that we talked about, which is really quite surprising. Side note, don't always remember a whole lot of things, so that I do, right? So you obviously made an impact there, because I remember you came into this room.
Yeah,
and we were talking about your child, because psychic children is a hotspot for me.
Yeah.
And but when you think about everything, what would be something that really stood out for you as someone that was kind of leaning into the journey, particularly when you were starting, that was like a pivotal moment, or even something else that after, like that was really like a turning point for you?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I had what I call the biggest challenge, I'm not too sure, but it was the longest one, was the trust in myself. Meeting my spiritual team as they came in, as I grew and my abilities grew, my awareness was more open. It was still the trust in me. And was it just my imagination? Is it my wishful thinking? Am I just making it up as I go along because I want that to be the answer? And it was really interesting because, I mean, obviously I did the level 1 course first. And that really helped me hone my abilities and understand them, because I didn't. Like, I was walking in this, before I met you, I was walking in sort of like this fog, I didn't know anything. And you search on the internet and you Google and everything, and you just, you don't know what you're reading. And there's so many things, especially now with AI, you don't know what's bull dust and you don't know what's real. So where you go, what do you do? And like I said, like you said, we connected through my child, and that's how we began. And it's like, well, if they've got abilities, then where did they come from? And so that's how my journey started, is that realization and that remembering that it came from me. So then that's where my whole self-development came. And doing level 1 first really helped me trust that, because it was a proven system. It was a proven structure that other people had done and gone through. And I did the group training as well as the one-on-one coaching. And I found that I loved the one-on-one because I was able to ask all those weird and wacky questions that would pop into my mind.
Lovely and wacky.
But then I loved the group as well, because I was able to hear other people's stories and relate and go, wow, that actually happens to me. And I thought I was the only one. So for so many years, I thought this was normal. And then it wasn't until I was a bit older that I realized that it wasn't normal. And you're not supposed to know these things or talk to dead people or whatever. But it was that confidence and that trust. And that was my first real step into truly developing who I was as a person, to be honest, and trusting myself and building my own confidence. And so that's a lot of responsibility for a level 1 course, isn't it?
I don't know if it's the course's responsibility or so, that's for sure. And yeah, it's that intuition amplified, which is that setting those foundations, so then you, as you did, you built on those over a lot of years. So hi, Gabriella, Wendy, Ali, Lois, Kate, if we've missed anyone. Yeah, I think I've got everyone there. So hi, thanks and say hi, so we know that we're not talking to ourselves, even though we would easily just chat here for hours, just the two of us. Yeah. It's interesting. There's a couple of things that you said there, and when I think about when we're developing and we're enhancing our skills, it really is a remembering. So it is. People call it an awakening. That's not wrong, but it is a remembering of what is our innate ability. That we have either squashed or denied because someone has told us it's wrong, you're making it up, it's not real, it's pretend, a whole lot of things that they say. And this is then why we then ultimately don't trust ourselves, because often when we're either children or even adults and we'll have experiences, whether it's seeing things, hearing things, and we might express that to someone, and then they're going to tell us that that's not real, that we didn't have it, we didn't experience it. And then we start to question, maybe that's, the person that I'm talking to, the imaginary friends is a perfect example, that, maybe that's not my experience. And so this is where that doubt kicks in. We get from whoever's around us when we share this information. They create the doubt. They don't necessarily intend to, but it's what happens. And then we don't trust what we're experiencing because the doubt has been placed in us. And so then what we have to do as we are learning our skills is to start to trust ourselves and trust the experience that we are having there. And there's a whole lot of ways that we go through this. And when we're Intuition Amplified, what we share in there is some really simple hacks to build up confidence and trust in the abilities. So you can quieten the ego and allow you to trust what your nervous system is processing, the neurology of what we are learning, and obviously the energetic aspects. So and the more that we do that, the more that it grows. You mentioned your spirit team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So I'd love to know, because I do share about my experience, right? And I'll continue with that in a sec. But what was your first, that you can remember, encounter with a member of your spiritual team? And I'd love other people to put it in the chat, because I can see we've got some people joining us. Hi, Jules. Stephanie, your in the chat, put in there like any kind of thing about your first encounter with your spiritual team. But Melissa, what was yours?
Oh, it was so long ago. I do recall, because obviously, like, as I was just talking about before, is it my imagination? Is it my wishful thinking? You know, give me something, give me a definitive answer. So there was two things that I had. So when I had, just before my penny drop moment, I said, all right, is this real? Like, I want to see if you're really here and you're talking to me and it's not in my imagination. I want to walk down the street and I want to see a wall, because magenta pink is my favorite color. I want to see a wall of magenta pink, a wall of it. Now, at that stage, I lived in Penrith. There's, not a lot of magenta pink walls around that area. But I was walking down the main street, and then I thought, I'll just take a little turn as I was walking down to the shops. And there's this florist, and their whole window, the whole display was magenta pink flowers.
Oh, fabulous.
And I normally wouldn't walk past that way. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for that sign. But just so I can make sure, can you, and then as I was saying the question, I heard in a male voice, no, that's enough. And that was my penny drop moment, because I'm formulating in my head the question and I'm saying it to myself. How can I say it to myself and answer myself at the same time? I can't. And then I think it was probably that week or maybe a couple of weeks after in class, you'd mentioned something in regards to that. So you had validated what I had experienced only a day or a week before. So I guess there was three things there in a row.
Yeah, I'm a bit like a couple of others here that are in the chat. Like when I started formally learning, I went to a class to support my son. My intention was never to learn for myself. I just needed to, so I could parent him, because I had my own experiences as a child. Mm-hmm. I was happy with that. That was where I was at. And it was all about learning about spirit guides. And I would sit there and everyone else could see and I couldn't. I was the only person that could hear. So I was clairaudient and everyone else was clairvoyant. And so they would come out of meditations and they'd have all these magical experiences. And I'd be like, and I wasn't great at meditation either. I would failed meditation class as well as spirit guide class. Like, I was just failing. Right? Yep. I'd come out and I'd be like, oh God, all I did was sit there and think about my shopping list. And so I remember doing like 21 goes at meditation before I even got close to being able to relax my mind. And I just could not connect to my spirit guide, just couldn't. And I felt like I was failing. I just couldn't do it. And everyone was having these great experiences. They come to me and I'm like, I don't know, I got nothing. Right? That'd be my answer when we'd go around the circle. And it took a very, very long time. And I'm really stubborn. And thank goodness sometimes, right? So I persevered at it. And I do remember one day laying on my bed at home, and then finally I had this experience in meditation where this light came and it was all moving and it had a certain color to it. It was blue and it was doing all this stuff and it was communicating, and it told me that it was my guide. And I'm like, well, why do you look like that? Once again, I'm questioning analytical mind, like, that's not what everyone else had. They had all these great experiences, monks and things like this. And energy said to me, goes, if we showed up in any of those ways, because you are such a skeptic, you wouldn't believe us.
Mm.
You just go, it's cliche, Bronwyn. I'm like, true, I would, right? That is like true. And then they said, so we showed up in our pure form of energy. So you wouldn't recognize that it's something special. And I go, great, I understand that. Awesome. Weird light that can talk. Not normal, right? So I get that you're different, right? And then everyone, had names and things like this for their guides. And so I asked, I said, well, what do I call you? Apparently you're supposed to have a name. And it said, once again, my spirit guide is a bit of a bad attitude like me. See why we're assigned to each other. And the energy said to me, you can't actually pronounce our name. It's a name that you will never be able to pronounce. So just call me Christopher. And I'm like, awesome, I can work with that. Christopher with a bad attitude that comes in a blue light form. You and I are a team. Awesome. And I continued to work with Christopher, the bad attitude, blue light, forever. It's now so integrated into my existence that I trust it more than I trust anything else or anyone else that I've ever encountered with all and every decision. And it is such an embodiment of who I am in all the ways. So anyone that struggles to connect to their guide, understand who they are, keep going, right? Keep persevering. But here's the thing that people never tell you, right? And I've sat in lots of development. I've been learning for, I don't know, probably 16, 17 years now in a formal sense. This is a thing that people don't tell you. You actually do not need to have a personal relationship consciously from your perspective with your guide. Makes no difference at all to your connection. Teachers make out that it's the be-all, end-all. It's not true at all, but they will bang on about it constantly. And here's the reason why it actually makes no difference at all, because your guide has one responsibility, you. Nothing else, just you. They have known you before you've incarnated. And so that bond and that connection has occurred then. The fact that your conscious mind is not aware of it for, sometimes forever for some people, doesn't mean that your guide doesn't know that you are their responsibility. Because frankly, I joke about this, but it's kind of true, right? Us, right? And I'll use me as an example. I'm like, through life, a 3-year-old given a shopping list, which is my soul contract, of all the things that I have to do. And it's like you've given the 3-year-old the shopping list for the family groceries for the fortnight or week. Unsupervised. That's what you'd be like if you sent me down here incarnated to tick off my soul contract without a spirit guide. It's like, who knows what I'm going to come back with, right? Definitely not what's on the shopping list. I'm just not, right? So my guide is there to ensure, that's like the parent, to ensure that at the supermarket we come home with everything we intended to achieve. And so they are going to, just like any other parent or supervisor, kind of make sure that the person that they're responsible for does the thing that they're supposed to do, no matter what me, the 3-year-old, wants to do. So, and I mean, there's a whole free will thing in there as well. That's where I go through life kicking and screaming. But that's my free will fighting my guide. We do have arguments sometimes. But I'm sure he would like a do-over in working with me. He's like, can I pick someone else, a different human?
Oh, well, he started. He was the one that said at the beginning before you came down, yep, all right, I'm sign up for the job. Let me do it. So
like,
it's on him, not you.
That tough one. So our guides, we know that they're part of our world, right, on an energetic level. But of all the other components of our spiritual team, what are some of your favorites and why?
Oh, how woo can I go?
Hey.
Okay, so I've got a few.
Mediumship College, it's woo.
You know what? When I first Actually, it wasn't when I first, well, yeah, kind of when I first, but I would backtrack even up to 3 years ago, maybe. I hadn't come out of the psychic closet. And why is that? Because fear of judgment. Because my whole life people had said, you didn't, that's just your imagination. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, blah, 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 projecting their stuff onto me, right? So that becomes my subconscious beliefs. When I had the confidence in myself and then I could creak the wardrobe door open of that psychic closet, I was able to step out. And then there was a whole, I don't know, it was just almost like a whole weight of the world just lifted off my shoulders because I didn't care what other people thought of me. I realized that, and I learned this a lot through the mind mastery course as well. When I did that, I have done that 3 times now because there's so much value in it that once just isn't enough. It's like going on a roller coaster. You don't go once, do you? Because you love it. So you go a few times. So for me, mind mastery is my roller coaster. But from that, I learned that what other people think of you is none of your business. And because that's what they need to learn on. So they're projecting their stuff onto you as a reflection. So I'm a mirror to them, to what they need to work on. You're welcome. There you go. Take that, sign up to Mind Mastery and figure stuff out. So when we talk about my spirit guides now, I've got a few. Like I started with Cain, who was my first one. He was my protector, is still there. He's my main man. When I first met him, I said, all right, same thing, human thing. What's your name? What do you look like? What do you do for a job? What are you supposed to do for me? Blah, 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 blah. So he is very, very much like Henry Cavill. So, I feel like I'm pretty lucky. That's how he's kind of projected himself to me. So that's okay. I don't mind that. Then I went through, I've got Ogden, who's my rune guide. And because I've done tarot and rune and oracles, and I love doing everything, bit of everything. So I've got different guides for healing. Ozzy, who's my Akashic Records and my script guy. Then lately, the one that I've worked with the most, and this is why I ask how woo we can go, is because I have worked on myself to a level that and I'm not up myself, please don't take it the wrong way, but I'm at a higher frequency where I'm able to connect into higher dimensional beings. So, and as with your guide, Christopher, he couldn't give me a name because I wouldn't have been able to pronounce it because it's the frequency of a color.
Yeah.
So the song You Can Call Me Al came on. And so I call him Al. Al is my Arcturian guide. He's my star being that I do a lot of work with daily to be able to learn about frequencies, learn about multidimensional healing, learn about multidimensional chakras. And it's just been a crazy fun ride. And I'm a pretty grounded person, open skeptic. So I give him, I make him work hard to be able to prove things to me. But so he's definitely the boss cocky at the moment in the hen house.
Boss cocky. That's an Arcturian. Why wouldn't you love that? There's a couple of things there that you said that I think are really interesting, and it's that coming out of the closet space. That's definitely something that a majority of us have to work our way through, and it is a coming out process based on other people's beliefs and what they project. And so we have to find our way in that space. The other thing that's interesting too, and I find it to be true as you've said it, and when we work on ourselves, there is a direct correlation, once again, and it's starting to be discussed a little bit more now, but when I first started, no one was talking about it, that if you don't do the work on yourself, and some people call it shadow, I just call it actually understanding what life has given you, which is, as you said, Mind Mastery, we cover that. So it's about that personal development space. But if we don't work on ourselves, the belief systems, understanding why they're there, understanding that you can rewire them and doing that work, then there is your skills, your technical skills in connection will be impacted. So they have to happen parallel. And as you do that work and you work on yourself, as you've indicated that you have, then your frequency changes, which means that your access point to energy, in whatever form it comes in, you have a different access point. You can get to a different space there. And even if you sort of don't talk to Arcturians, because maybe that's not for everyone, right? Even if you stay in the space of psychic mediumship, healing, down in the the humanness space where we kind of are, the common things, your skills will be elevated. The information you can actually get in that space from the third and fourth dimension and fifth dimension, like where we work, will be so much more if you do the self-development. And you'll see it, even because I've been in the industry for a long time. I've seen all different kinds of readers, and you'll notice those readers that don't do the personal development work. One, you can see by the way that they behave in readings and how they project and what they do and say and stuff like that, but also in the level of skill. So you know that they've stopped developing in that personal development space. So it's really interesting that correlation there. But the other thing that I find fascinating is you've got the Arcturians, and I've noticed in readings, because I do about 400 readings a year over and above all the teaching, that other beings are really presenting as guides around other people. And so we need to open our mind on our guides. So there's certain ones that we're aware of, right? We're aware of our spirit guides, that they exist even if we don't have a personal relationship with them. We're aware that our loved ones, so those people that we knew, right, or that are part of our family that knew us, might have maybe they passed just before we were born, but they're in our family pool. We know that they guide us slightly, right, through life. That we've got our master guides, our ascended masters. We've got this structure. We've got our animals as well, and angels. So we've got this sort of standard team that we're aware of. But because everything's shifting and changing, it's so exciting. It's like we've got a whole lot of bonus energy that is coming through that is able to assist us. And so if you are on a learning journey or you're in this space, open your mind to what also could be supporting you. Because I am not, when I do, as I said, when I do readings and people are asking me, who's my guide? And I'll invite them to come close and you'll see. And I remember this coming to the front of my mind. I can't remember when this was. Let's just say like 6 weeks ago. It wasn't that long ago. That a lady and yeah, I could see the guide. We could describe the standard guide. And then the more that I'm kind of looking who else is around her, I'm like, oh, look at you. You've got a bonus one. And the bonus one was from a different space. It was this higher dimension space. And I'm like, people need to be looking for other beings that are also supporting that weren't necessarily making themselves known previously, because things are shifting and changing, which is kind of interesting. But not, and this is the other thing. So I'll share a thing in regards to animal guides. So obviously our pets are a bit like our loved ones in spirit, like they sort of still hang around, support us, that kind of stuff. But we have our other ones, our totem animals. Now, the other thing with those, yes, we can have a dolphin and, wolf and all these kind of cool stuff for sure, right? But once again, in the openness of your mind, know that your animal totem can actually be a compository of other elements. Because mine kind of is. It's not like it's not like a normal, like mine's a fox, but it's like not a normal fox. Yeah. Doesn't look like a normal fox, doesn't behave like a normal fox. And so they can be these components of other animals in there. And so we look at, when we're diving into it, what are all the elements that are represented within that being, because when we pull them apart, we can understand the energy that they hold.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And why wouldn't you want to go on that journey? Like,
exactly.
It's so fun. even if you don't necessarily believe in it straight away, like, enjoy it, have fun with it, because why shut yourself off to the possibility that there could be a dragon sleeping on the top of your house protecting it?
Or 4.
Yeah, like, just have fun. Find that inner child and just go at it. Like, have fun. That's what I say.
Actually, I sat in meditation. So I invited the experience and I sat in meditation, and it doesn't always happen in the first sitting. So be really open to the fact that it may take you a little while for the animal to present. Mine didn't show up for ages, like but I hadn't even looked for it either. Like, I just like, yeah, we've already ascertained that I'm a question and skeptic, and I'm like, yeah, everyone has a wolf, everyone has a dolphin, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think that sometimes that could be that they want to, like, on the surface they want to experience it, but deep down they're a little bit scared of experiencing it, so they kind of block themselves a little bit?
Well, I mean, if you're scared of anything, it will create a block. So even in mediumship, if you're scared of seeing spirit, it's going to create a block. You're not going to see them, right? So anything that makes you scared, there. If your totem is an animal that you potentially would be scared of, then it's going to be harder for you to connect with it. And this is why it's like, consider the components of what that animal represents. Right? Because and this is the other thing that I've noticed, the animal, and this is why I say don't get drawn into generic totems, because you're not generic, and your totem animal will have traits that you have. If you break down what their eyes look like, what color they are, if they've got fur or scales or whatever, like, if you break it all down, all the components of what and all the meanings for it, it will represent you on a level, because there has to be some kind of correlation for there to be a connection piece there. Black cat with green eyes. Awesome. Sounds like a gorgeous cat.
So multi-layered, isn't it?
Yeah.
The symbology around everything. It can be surface level, but it can have 3 or 4 or 5 or even more different layers in it. That's what makes things so exciting to do and explore and learn about.
I want to just cover one more thing before we kind of jump off, because it's a topic that is, I'm going to call it, sometimes triggering for me as someone that was raised Catholic, went to Catholic family in the country, church every week, Catholic school until they told me that they no longer wanted me to be part of Catholic school. I questioned too many things. Is
form from
that's right. Is angels and the concept of angels and the way angels work. And I find it really fascinating because of how that concept of angels through religion influences them people when they get in this space. Right, so they still bring through that faith-based theory on angels. And my experience, and I can only speak to my experience and nothing more than that, is that not true. They don't look like how they're made to look like. They have a whole different energy, a whole different way of communicating. And we all seem to tap into one particular poor fellow.
He works hard. Works hard for the money.
Yeah, he does work hard. But what isn't discussed often is the intense energy that they hold, particularly in the arc space. And not understanding how, when you're working with them, it's actually a derivative of that energy. If you think of electricity, they're like the power station. You don't plug your hairdryer straight into the power station, right? And so it's the same kind of thing when we are working with them here. You're working with a derivative of that energy. That energy actually can be in more places than one, just like electricity goes everywhere at once. Same kind of thing. And we've made them very human, right? They're not, their energy. That's not what it's like. So I find it, and it's a topic that we could talk like for hours on.
Oh, yes.
But I just want to kind of scratch the surface and go, for those that are really drawn into that angelic space, and that's me, right, is considering it's not like what you think it is through faith. Very different kind of energy, very different way that they communicate. And the energy that they hold and the purpose that they hold is very, very different to what is expressed in faith. So open your mind. Once again, this is an opening your mind conversation. When you are working in that space, to let go of what you think they should look like, what you think that they should feel like, and how you think they should communicate. To truly get an idea of how they communicate, the direction that they take, the energy they hold, and the frequency that you will potentially feel when they work with you. So let go of your expectations and any belief systems around that so you can have a true experience. And as I said, we could talk for hours just on that topic.
Yes.
It's a massive, big topic. And there's lots of people, you see it all the time online, channeling angels and things like that. So once again, not putting any sort of shade on anyone doing that at all, because people can do that. You can channel anything, right? Yep, like a power cord connection, 100%. Stephanie, we can all channel. If we want to, we can all channel different beings. Like, it's not just for the special few, right? It comes on the frequency of the work that you've done on yourself, blah, 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 things like what Melissa expressed, why she can talk to the Acturians, right? So there is a framework that needs to occur first, but it's available to everyone. But once again, consider what that looks like for you, how you use it, when you use it. And also consider when you're watching someone channeling anything really, but angels specifically, that if you've got your own reflection piece and you've done your own work, you'll be really able to identify those that are truly channeling that energy and those that aren't.
Yeah, 100%, especially if they're in ego. Like if I feel or I did it, whatever it is, it's not a channel. And you can see the shift and hear the shift in the voice. And they talk as a collective as opposed to I as the ego, and not the ego I love myself, but the ego, the human brain, the muggle mind. So you can definitely pick up, if you know a couple of little tricks.
That's right.
Look out for.
And Stephanie's right. They are not fluffy and light either. Correct?
No. They're very direct.
They always, particularly in the arc space, they remind me of, it's very much, to put it in a human perspective, I always think of it a little bit like an army structure, right? The army's got sort of ranks and a structure to it. The angelic space has a similar kind of structure, not the same, but it has a structure. So I always think it's a little bit like that. And in the arc space, it reminds me very much of like that army, like giving a directive. It's like, do this, da-da-da. There's no negotiation. Like, like you can negotiate with your guide. He's still going to tell you that, or she, or what what they want you to do. There's no negotiating with the angelic space at all. It's very directive.
They will tell you.
They are definitely.
It's really interesting to connect with them. You're right.
Yeah. So I just want to kind of, as I said, scratch the surface on that, because it's a big topic. But it is that awareness piece when you are connecting in to your spiritual team. And if you don't know who your spiritual team is, don't stress, right? We already said that it doesn't matter for you to be able to develop your skills or have a connection. They know that they are working with you. So it really doesn't matter. But it is about being open to that you have a spiritual team. They are there to support you and guide you. You just need to invoke them, because they're not going to interfere with you. They're just going to stalk you. Basically, they're like, you guys like a stalker, until you acknowledge that they exist and they'll help you. Otherwise, they're just going to walk there and every now and then try and get you to tick something off your list, and you'll either do it or not, right? They're just going to do that the whole way through life. But if you make it a little bit easier by going, hey, don't know you, but I know you exist, help me out. Even if you're at that point, it's a great place to start. So before we finish, Mel, what's one thing that you want to end on?
Oh, I would really, really love to invite everyone, everybody, get ready, Caddy. I would love to invite everyone to really check out the college, because it really helped me grow. It helped my child, who was 6 when he started. He's now 14. It helped him grow and flourish and understand his abilities. And even my littler one, who feels like he's a bit left out because he doesn't have anything, which he does, we're slowly learning, child-friendly ways of being able to develop him. And I wouldn't have been able to learn those skills to pass on to my kids without Bronwyn Jane, without the college, and without, the beautiful people that we've built the community with. Like, everyone's amazing. There's no judgment. You can trust and be your authentic self. And that's what I would say to anyone that was just even looking at doing any of the courses. Level 1 would be good. That would be good, so I can see everybody. But I strongly, with my whole heart, invite everyone to at least jump on and have a look at the website, have a look at the free resources, and then jump into level 1 if you haven't done anything, because the structure, the homework, the practice sessions that we all dread but we secretly love, it will just enhance your life so much. And I can't express it enough how much it's helped me with my life, my kids' lives, even my husband's sanity, thinking that I'm crazy, but now he knows I'm not. So yeah, I think that's what I would finish on.
Awesome.
Join.
Didn't even ask her to say it. That's great. You did say something there that is really kind of special. It happened by accident, which is the community that sits around the college. Like, we created the courses. I've done lots of training and years of things to build that space. But the college isn't that. And I never say that. It's not my truth. The college is the community. We are blessed. And as I said, I've studied in lots of places, and they may have Facebook groups, right? Because some of them do have, a Facebook group assigned to or linked to their educational space. But none of them have the community that sits within this Psychic Mediumship College. They don't have it, and it's the people that are the college. Yes, you come to learn technical skills, grow, hang out with me, get ridiculous jokes along the way, whatever, right? But it is the people that stay connected. We're really blessed that people come, they learn the skills, and they just don't go. Like, I try and push them out of the nest, they just won't leave. But the end result of that is that there is this most beautiful space where everyone supports each other, knowing that when we do that, it's that whole thing, when you lift everyone up, everyone benefits. And that's what we've got here. And that's to do with and some of those people that are in the community are on here chatting, and so it's you guys, and it's anyone else that watches this on replay that's part of the community. It's just a phenomenal space. And the most fascinating thing is, when I was going through my development, I always wanted to find a really nice spiritual group. I'd been in a few. One was okay. One was anything but. It was like a cult. I think it was a cult, frankly. And then others were just kind of dead, right? There wasn't the community spirit. I didn't know that it was actually going to exist under the thing that I built. The thing that I was looking for ended up showing up. So it's really amazing.
Yeah. I remember the early days when we first did the group, and there wasn't a lot of interaction in there, and you were thinking about closing it down because, and then like, no, don't. And then it just kind of like exploded.
I know. There was at one stage of that group, so I don't know, got nearly 26. One group's got nearly 2,600 people in there. And one day I just got cranky and just went, that's it, I'm done. Yeah, but that's spirit does that all the time to me, where I go, I'm done, and they go, no, you're not. And they change the energy. So Psychic Mediumship College is the place that we're talking about. It is an educational space. We call it spiritual TAFE. So it is like a community college. It's got that energy, or TAFE, depending on where you are, like in the world. And it's all about spiritual development. That's where we're from. I'm the founder. Melissa is now a teacher there. After 6 years, she's come through and learned. And it is a space where you can learn intuition, psychic, mediumship, healing, meditation, protection. There's 25 courses on there. Actually, 26. We added platform today, just in case anyone wondered. So, with more about to be released. So it is spiritual TAFE, but it's spiritual TAFE with a heart is what it is there. So if you are beginning your journey, you've got any questions, as Melissa said, jump on to psychicmediumshipcollege.com. There is a heap of free resources there for anyone that's curious. And if you want to talk to anyone about anything to do with your spiritual development, just click on one of the buttons and you'll get to have a chat with me or someone else. Once again, Melissa and I love to talk, but mainly me. We have been on here far longer than we anticipated. So thank you for coming, hanging out, engaging, chatting, sharing. I appreciate it. And I look forward to connecting with you in whatever way that looks like in the future. Have an awesome evening. Bye.